Well, hey, welcome back. Now you probably remember this rusty mess from one of the recent videos. If you didn't happen to see that, I'll put a link to it up in that corner there somewhere and go check that out. Now what that was all about was covering what these F1 chassis can be used for as far as salvaging parts for your traditional hot rod build. So now the point of today's video is that I'm going to be harvesting all the parts that I can off of this thing, and we're going to cut this up so I can make an engine run stand out of it. So there's really nothing else to talk about. Let's get to work. Junk in there. Oh. The pin's actually moving, that's crazy. Can't get at it very well. This clutch link is just held onto the transmission arm with this little pin. Take the cotter pin out, and you gotta try to work the pin itself out. It doesn't always want to cooperate. Come on. There she goes. A bunch of stuck. Come on now, come on. There you go. Alright, I should get out of there. Maybe. Just like that. That is that little pin. Now it should come apart. Probably warm, so find me a pry bar. There you go. We will get that off afterwards, but this thing, I think, is ready to come out. Oh, I forgot about the return spring. Let's get that off of there. Not quite ready. Return spring on the clutch or brake lever, I think. There we go. Right there, I don't think that's much good, but that was holding us up. Try it again. Alright, let's see if we can roll this frame back a little. Nice. I don't know where I'll look at. Alright, as far as that's going. Watch out for that. Stay right there for a minute. Get that transmission off of there. Hopefully, maybe, possibly. Probably would be easier if I spun this around. Do that. Engine and transmission are out. Gives us a little bit more room to get to this other stuff now. I think I'm going to try to save these running board brackets. I'm going to guess there may be some market for them. If I was smart, I would probably look it up first and see if it's worth my time. But if I'm going to use these pieces of frame, they're kind of in the way anyways. And the same with these, the front body mounts. They're kind of in the way for the run stand, so I'll just take them off. I'll grind the heads off the rivets and then drill them out. Kind of time consuming, a little bit of a pain in the ass, but that's how you gotta save them. So I'm gonna go through and do that, grind them and drill them, get all these pieces off. Hopefully you can get a few bucks out of them. And then we'll move on to getting the crossmember itself out, get the pedals out, steering box. The axles will be the last part of the process. Alright, on to the steering box. Maybe. With any luck. Get some of the gunk off of here. There's a pile of goo on here. Hopefully. This thing's pretty rusty, so I don't know if these cotter pins are going to want to come out. Hopefully. Sort all the crap out of here. Wow, a lot of stuff in there. Oh yeah, cotter pin's free. That's good. Should be able to get it out of there if I can find the other end of it. I guess there's only one end. That makes it easy. Yep, there we go. Alright, we'll see if we can get those ends out. Making a giant mess. What I do best. Oh man, look at that. It's stuck at all. That's crazy. That is crazy. These big slotted ends actually use a little bit like that. You can put a big screwdriver in there, but unless it's very, very loose, like this one, you're probably not going to get it out with a screwdriver. So get these little bits and they fit in a 3/4 inch socket. It's way easier. Especially the ones that are stubborn and stuck. So that's what that end looks like. Look at that big slot in it. It's just got the little divot there for the disc that goes against the ball. I'll get the other end off. And take the whole thing right off. Alright, it took a little heat and a giant pry bar, but we get the pitman arm off finally. Get these 3 bolts out of here, get the steering box out of here, and clean up some of the disastrous mess we got going on here. With any luck, the cotter pins will come out. Look at that. Good one. Oh, it was a bolt. Huh. That's weird. The bottom one's in backwards. That's kind of strange. It is still pretty warm. Get out of there. Ooh. Yummy. Alright, I think it's time to try to get this front end torn apart. I still got a couple of running board brackets left to drill off of there, but most of it's ready to go. The center cross member I can't get out yet because there's actually 3 rivets that come in from the bottom. It'd just be a huge pain to try to drill it from the bottom, so I'll wait till it's pretty much done. We'll flip it over and then drill those out and I'll get the center cross member out. For now, I'll try to get this front end apart. Not gonna happen. That's just the top cap spinning. So I think what I'm gonna do is leave the spindles on the axle. We'll take the whole axle out. That way I can put the press, heat this, and press them out instead of fighting with it like this. So we'll just leave that all together and just get the axle out. So next step, I'm gonna get in here and cut the U-bolts off and get that front axle out of there. And try to get these front springs out, and then we will move on to the rear. So we got this frame stripped down about as well as I'm going to for this video anyway. The only thing that's really left on it is the center cross member. I've got the top and side rivets all drilled out, but there's 3 rivets on each side that come in from the bottom. It's going to be a whole lot easier to drill those out with the frame upside down. And it's going to be a lot easier to flip the frame over once it's cut up into pieces. So for right now, at least for the intent of this video, that's going to stay where it is. So now what I want to do is walk you around, and I'm going to show you what I managed to salvage off this frame. Alright, so right here we have all 6 running board brackets. Pretty decent shape, a little bit of pitting, but not bad. Those are the front cab mounts. Next up we got the pedals. The downside, again, is that somebody knocked the heads off of them. Not too hard to fix, but the upside is that they have all the linkage, and they have the pivot for the cross shaft, which is usually missing. So next up we have the complete front brakes. They're not bad. Obviously going to need to be rebuilt, but I think overall they're in pretty decent shape. The drums may be savable. I didn't actually measure them, so I'm not sure what they mic out at. Hubs look good, backing plates look good. Rear lower shock mounts, F1 front shock mounts, very popular. Pretty good shape, need to be cleaned up obviously, but they do have the lower mounts too, which nobody ever seems to remember to grab those. Pretty nice pitman arm, steering box core. The engine, it's crusty, it's stuck. I sold it to a friend of mine already. Transmission, again, crusty, stuck. Probably not much salvageable gear-wise. I think the case is probably good. Wheels, and we'll save the best for last. F1 cross member. Looks pretty good. It's got some pitting in it, but I think it'll clean up pretty nice. Once I get it out of there, I'll have a better idea as to what it looks like on the ends here. So hopefully you guys found this interesting, give you a rough idea as to, maybe if you know what parts are worth, you can pick up something like this, part it out, get some free parts out of it that maybe you need for your project, and make a few bucks on the side. So the next step for this frame is that I am going to use the front half of this to make an engine run stand out of. From about where I'm sitting on back is all pretty thin and rotted, so that's all going to get scrapped. This middle section I'm going to cut up into 4 pieces and use those as legs, put casters on them. From about the cross member forward up to the front of the front cross member, I'll cut the front horns off, and that'll be the stand itself. And the reason I'm doing that is because mostly I'll be doing, flathead V8s. This already is all set up for it. It has the front mounts and everything there. I've already got a plan on how to do a rear mount. What I really wanted to build was something that's kind of versatile, where I can not just do V8s on it, but I've also got a V12 that I want to run on here. And if I decide to do other types of engines, I want this thing to be adaptable to easily fit those on here. The second thing I really want is something that comes apart. I don't want this giant cart taking up tons of space in here and me constantly having to move it around, get it out of my way, or leave it outside. The way I'm going to set this up is that these legs are going to be bolt on. So when it's not in use, I can take everything off. This thing will sit on its side up against the wall somewhere. You can tuck the legs away, you can tuck the control panel away. Everything is going to come off this thing and be flat. So it'll all be easy to store when it's not in use. So keep an eye out for a future video on me building that. It probably won't be right off. I've got a few other things in the meantime to take care of, but I'm hoping within the next month or so I can get this thing squared away and we'll have a video out on building this. So as always, thank you guys for watching, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button down there. You definitely don't want to miss out on upcoming videos.